What's up, YouTube? When is it good to set your boundaries, keep your boundaries, know exactly what you want, and just have high expectations? And when is it okay to drop your expectations? Well, number one, you're going to have a really hard time with staying happy because a lot of anxiety and depression is the cause of having too high of expectations. A parent having high expectations on their child in school to get good grades, and the child is like freaking out and they're super stressed out and they're not living up to their parents' expectations. Or a boyfriend who is just always feeling like a failure because their girlfriend's always nagging on them. So what's up, YouTube? My name is Kellyanne Rose, and in this video, we are going to be talking about when having expectations, high expectations in particular, can be detrimental. So without further ado, let's get started. So recently in my relationship, for example, my rocky road relationship, which I am using as a real life example for my YouTube video topics, because I am not just going to sit here as the expert and tell you that I know everything. Everything that I am talking about, these are real life experiences that I personally myself am going through, and the best way to learn is to teach. So I am just bringing this, laying it all out on the table so we can learn together in my life as I grow with you. Hopefully it'll help some of you out there. So why setting high expectations can be detrimental, and I'll give you the example of my Rocky Road's boyfriend, for example. And I think that, so number one, like we are both have been told by a therapist that we both need our own therapists separately in order to grow together. And I think that is the number one point to make here, is that when you are having high expectations of someone, for example, like a guy, like you want this guy to like buy you everything, take you out, and he still hasn't like grown into the man that he's going to be, like it's important to take a step back at that point and say, why do I like this person? What are the morals and values that originally brought me there? So for me, I value family. I value like love, genuine love. I value loyalty. So are these things that my boyfriend can give me? Yes. Do I value money? Yes. But do I want my boyfriend to be, give me money and be responsible for my financial, stability and No, I want to be responsible for my own finances, because then I will never be tied up in a situation where I am dependent and reliant on somebody else for my own financial wealth. And so financial independence is a goal of mine. So I am not looking for a guy to financially support me. Does my mom disagree? Maybe a little bit. Did my grandma disagree? Yes. My grandmother always said it's just as easy to fall in love with a poor man as it is a rich man. But the thing is that I chose to find a person that wasn't like already established so we could grow together, just like employers find employees that are just fresh out of college so that they can mold that person. So if I want to grow with my partner, I also have to be open to the fact that they are growing. And number two, I need to support them. So when not to set too high of expectations is when you're leaving room for growth. A student, they need to grow into who they're going to be, whether they're going to choose, after curricular, school clubs and activities and extracurricular activities, or they're going to choose like rich friendships, or they're just going to go like hard on their grades and their grades are going to be the most important thing. Either way, it's what do you value as a person? Are you valuing your child's, athletics, and ability to do sports, or ability to get good grades, and ability to have friends, or is it all of it? And so I think it's really important in developmental stages as a child to let your child grow into the person that they're going to be. Let them be creative, let them be artistic, because we are not like them, and they need to be their own people. But I am far from any sort of parent or giving any sort of parenting advice. But in the case of a relationship, for example, you need to be like, all I'm saying is that when we really have high expectations, it can really just like funk things up in our mind. Psychologically, we think that like We are like failing because we're not like meeting this certain, stereotype. Like, oh, like I'm 37 and I don't have a ring on my finger and I don't have all of the, like, I don't know, I'm not living on the bluff in La Jolla, in a house in La Jolla on the bluff overlooking the ocean with like, a 4-bedroom, who knows? Like, 4-bedroom house and all these kids, like these societal expectations. So that's okay to just like be living in your lane. And people's lives look different, And so let's go back to the main topic here, why setting high expectations can be detrimental. So there's plenty of good. Today's video, I got a little information from eduadvisor.my. There we go. We're going to take a little snippet from here and talk about it. So setting high expectations can be detrimental when, while there's plenty of good that comes from setting high expectations, going overboard and being unrealistic can result in serious consequences. Do I want to be taken out for New Year's Eve? Heck yes. Do I want to cook up a storm? It was a good idea. It was a good gesture. But if my boyfriend just wants to buy pizza, like, why do I have to do all this work? Why don't I just let him take me out? Let him bring me the pizza. Like, I mean, it's kind of like there's a time for like service and like overboard and giving, and there's a time to just receive and accept. And maybe I just like put too much pressure on myself, need to be too perfect all the time, trying too hard. Maybe like if I try less, like that person will step up to the plate more. So here's how setting unrealistically high expectations can affect you negatively. So number one, like I said before, it can cause psychological issues. So, okay, like we discussed before, you need to allow people to grow. So if you have too high expectations of someone, you have to remember to keep in mind, what are their morals and values? What is the original reason that brought you to that person in the first place? Okay, so you put your kid through a really good school. What is the original reason you put them there? Let's just stick with like my life and like relationships, because it's so much easier for me to like relate on that level. But in any case, like psychological issues across the board, whether it is through your, the parent and, causing the parent-child relationship or the girlfriend-boyfriend relationship, you're putting too much stress on your kid, you're putting too much stress on your boyfriend, that can cause psychological issues for them. And having those high expectations at times can cause emotional distress, like I said, for the third time now, such as anxiety and depression. And it's also important for me as a reminder to remind myself that I don't want to put that pressure on myself, because when I do put pressure on myself, I absolutely can let myself down. And it's like, when is enough enough? And it's like, when is it like never good enough? Well, I feel that way often. It's like, it's not good enough. It's not good enough. So we got to give ourselves a break. We got to give other people a break. And most importantly, we have to give ourselves a break. When is enough enough? Okay. So the findings of a study showed that a group of law students who were expected to do well by their parents experienced severe levels of depressive, anxiety, or stress symptoms. The study also found that students' motivation and goals changed with higher level of psychological distress. Hello, yes, of course. If you're stressed out, you're gonna it's not good. Just let a man be a man. Let me be me. Let your kid, be who they are. Right? Gosh, school is so stressful. But I must say, I'm very thankful that I really pushed myself in high school, because it like taught me that I like need to like do all these things. Hey, maybe that's another reason why I'm having like problems relaxing to this day. It's like, maybe I just need to like chill out. But can I be a high functioning person more than other people and contribute more to society than others because I was trained and groomed that way? Yes, absolutely. So everyone has a place here in society. Number 2 of why setting high expectations can be detrimental, you're setting yourself up for disappointment. So great expectations can lead to great disappointment. So this is particularly true when you set expectations on other people whose actions you cannot control. Key, ding, 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 right there. So it's really good to remember that we can't control anyone else but ourselves. So Chickadee, check yourself before you wreck yourself, because it is time to only focus on what we can control, what you can control. That's all we have. Somebody screaming at you, all we can control is our response. Someone wants to slack off and do nothing in life, or, whatever, want to eat pizza instead of like buying me dinner or cooking me dinner. Well, that's up to me. What can I control? I could go so much farther there, but I'm just going to keep going. For instance, if you're feeling alone and you call up a friend, your automatic expectation is for them to relieve your loneliness and make you feel better. When this fails to happen, you end up feeling disappointed and resentment toward your friend. There's so many life lessons here that for me, like, I need to just keep things light. Not everything is so intense all the time. It's like this feeling of if I lower my expectations, I'm not going to be happy. But interestingly enough, this article is telling me that it actually works counterintuitively, where if I lower my expectations, maybe it'll be easier for me to be happy. And herein lies the next. That is a perfect prelude to the next, number 3. But first of all, I want to say that when you're talking about like being lonely, okay, so you called a friend because you were lonely. You want them to relieve your loneliness and make it feel better. But when that fails to happen, you end up feeling disappointed and resentment toward your friend. Okay, this can happen all the time. Like, I do think that I've been placing some things on my boyfriend that like are not his responsibility. Like, it's like, but I don't think all the time, but I do think sometimes if I'm like in a bad mood, or like, oh, I'm not getting to this point in my life and then it's his fault, it's really easy to point the finger at someone else. So, it's like when I call my mom and I'm like, okay, I need to talk to you about my relationship. And then I'm like, either complaining or like I'm super in love or whatever it is, the flavor of the day, and then it's like, if she says the wrong thing, it's like I'm mad at her. My poor parents. I mean, my goodness, like I'm probably a difficult person to talk to. I am not going to come on here and appear like I'm a perfect person. It's better to kind of like own the fact that I'm not perfect and I'm growing. It's better to seem like a mess and not be a mess than be a mess and seem like it's all perfect. Because the people that have it all make it look like they have it perfect, like those are the ones that you have to worry about. And check it out, because I'm going to plug that link to my recent video about I asked this same question on Quora, is it better to seem like you're a mess or to be a mess? And I actually have some follow-up points to make about that, but go check out that video because it's very interesting. When you let go of these lofty demands and requests of your friends and like don't put your own happiness in someone else's lap, like it's my partner's fault that we don't have money or I don't have money. No, that's me. I am financially responsible for myself. It's my partner's fault that I don't like my job. It's my partner's fault or responsibility that I'm not happy. No, absolutely not. Check yourself, guys. Check yourself. It's not up to them. It's up to us to take care of ourselves financially, emotionally, socially, physically, work out, eat healthy. These are all our responsibilities, okay? This codependencies, they come from putting your happiness, health, physical health, spiritual, all the things in somebody else's lap. My boyfriend doesn't want to go to church with me? Okay. I still have my own thing. I do. Okay. Sorry, I'm getting off topic. But avoid the pitfall by letting go of lofty demands and requests of your friends. Accept them for who they are. Acceptance. Ding, ding, ding again. Acceptance is the key. I mean, when people don't feel accepted, that's like one of the major reasons for addiction. So the opposite of addiction, guess what it is? Being accepted. So if you can accept your friends, accept your partner, accept your family, number one, it's driving them away from addiction, if that is a thing or could be. Number two, it is like just accept who they are, because it's also like avoiding anxiety, avoiding depression, helping them feel loved, helping them feel accepted for who they are. And if a situation is at hand where somebody is doing something you don't agree with, you can't change that person. So if they want to do drugs, you got to accept it. Okay? Because all you're doing is suffering and hurting yourself by holding on to that resentment and not forgiving yourself. I mean, you can like You can't forgive other people until you can forgive yourself first, okay? So let go of everything, see things the way they are, see things exactly how they are, and let people be who they are. You can explain why you feel a certain way, but you can't expect a circle to go into a like a peg hole to go in. I don't know. You just can't fit something in a place where it just doesn't fit. And that is something where I need to explore this further, probably with my therapist, because it's like I can't have these expectations for a person who just isn't capable of doing it. So I need to say, like, do I accept this person for who they are? Or do I need to go find somebody else who's going to accept me for who I am and understand who I am and what my needs are? And what are my needs? Do I need my partner to fulfill all these needs? Or am I like an extroverted introvert anyway, and I'm like good on my own, and I'm financially independent anyway, so I don't need that kind of support? It's like, so then it goes back to what are the things that we actually need and what have we agreed to provide for ourselves. And I know that it is important for me to provide for myself. So I know that I always wanted to be, being financially independent is the way to go for me, because then I can attract somebody who is also financially independent. So yeah, it's going to be hard if we're still not exactly where we want to be at, but I chose the fact that I wanted to grow with someone. Is this hard? This is so hard. This is so hard. And that does not mean that I should take any disrespect or I shouldn't be talked to the way that I want to be talked to. So those are completely different things that we need to work out, and I'm going to work those things out. But don't you just love all my projecting in these videos? Okay, so going back to number 3 of why setting high expectations can be detrimental, and you can see how I'm working through all of this and how this pertains to my life. Number 3, it can distract you from the present. Okay, so have you ever wallowed in self-destructive thoughts when you fail to meet your expectations? Perhaps you expected yourself to organize a successful class event or successfully sat for scholarship interview, but when things go awry, you sit in your guilt and blame yourself for what went wrong. So my boyfriend's really good at being in the present, and I'm like really future forward thinking. So the problem with this is that when you're spending more time in your head rather than accepting the past, is that you are spending more time in your head rather than accepting the past for what it is. You could either learn from your mistakes and strategize differently, or accept the silver lining to the situation. Let's hear that again. We learn from our mistakes, or we accept things how we are, okay? And see the silver lining. How can I grow from this, right? So the class event or interview may not have been a success, but at least you've experienced it, and now you have a better understanding on how you can do better the next time. There may not be a template for managing expectations, but the main goal here is to find the perfect balance in setting a more realistic and achievable expectation. Learn to let go of things. I totally need to do this. Like, these are all things that are so hard for me to learn, especially when they don't turn out the way you hoped. Most importantly, don't be afraid to celebrate your victories, no matter how small. I have a really, at the end of the day, it's like, what do I want? What am I okay with my life looking like? And I have a hard time celebrating my victories. I need to just give myself a pat on the back, yeah, but I mean, these are all things I'm working through, and I don't have the answers yet. So hopefully this article helped you. Remember the 3 things. I know I kind of talked a lot in this video, but why setting high expectations can be detrimental. It can cause psychological issues, anxiety, depression. 2, you're setting yourself up for disappointment. And 3, it can distract you from the present. Hopefully that this video, you got some context and put things into context that was helpful for you. Please subscribe to my channel. I'm new to the YouTube. I appreciate the support. If you have any questions, go ahead and comment and leave a like, and I will see you in the next video. All right. Journal whatever things came to mind as I was talking today, and hopefully you can work through some of these things. I'm not a therapist or licensed professional at all, so I'm just a yogi. So if you have any questions, I definitely or need to talk to somebody yourself, I definitely recommend talking to a licensed professional. All right. See you guys later. I'm out.